Hello and welcome to Perthshire Online TV. Well, it's the week after Christmas and I hope everybody had a nice festive break. It's the run up to Hogmanay. I hope those of you who are off on holiday from work are enjoying the festive break and not partying too hard. We're delighted, well, I'm really excited and delighted today to introduce you to someone special on the show. It's my new co-presenter and co-host, Vyvyen Corrigan. Vyvyen, welcome to Perthshire Online TV.
Thank you very much, Gavin. It's lovely to be here.
Great. Well, we're delighted that you've joined us as well. Vyvyen, I've known you for a few years now, but for those of the viewers that don't know, can you give a little background about yourself?
Yes, certainly. Well, I was born and bred in Perth. I went to Perth Academy and I'm involved in several businesses in the Perthshire area. So that's me.
Great. And you and I have quite diverse hobbies and interests as well. You're quite a sport fanatic, aren't you? You like your running and your gym and whatever.
I rollerblading.
Fantastic. And there's something new. I heard through the grapevine you've started up a new hobby for 2012 as well.
I have. I've taken up tap dancing. So I think it's going to be a long road, but yeah, you'll need to come and join me.
Well, I'll maybe give that a bash. You know, between that and Highland Fling bungee jumping, I've got a busy start to the next year. Well, listen, as I say, it's fantastic you've joined us and we're delighted that we're going to be seeing a bit more of you on the show as well.
Thanks very much, Gavin.
So this week's show, we're joined by Tayside Police Choir again. Did you manage to see them last week, Viv?
I thought they did a really good job.
It's super, aren't they?
Yes,
Great. And they're looking for more members at this point in time as well. So anybody interested, whether you're in the police force or not, I believe you have to put your hand up and put your name forward. We've got Tayside Police. We've also been joined by Sheena Howden and the team from the Centre for Enterprise up at Perth College UHI. They recently ran their Business Ideas competition and we've got Sheena here in the studio and some of the winners sharing their ideas and their plans with us. We've also put together, as it's the last show of the year, we've put together some of the highlight interviews as we see them from the first couple of months of Perthshire Online TV. So we hope you enjoy, sit back, enjoy. If you're still eating some turkey, then turkey sandwiches, then munch away or put the show on hold while you come back and catch up with any of the interviews that you haven't already seen. As they say, it's on with the show. Hi, I'm Gavin Simon. Welcome to today's show. I'm delighted today to be joined by Sheena Howden, who's the manager at the Centre of Enterprise at Perth College UHI. Sheena, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Well, for the viewers that don't know an awful lot about the Centre of Enterprise, Sheena, can you give us just a quick overview of what you got up to up at the Centre of Enterprise?
Okay, the Centre for Enterprise, it was set up about 4 years ago. It was identified that there was a lack of business start-up support in the area. So we received European Regional Development funding to start up the Centre for Enterprise. We offer training for businesses, both pre-start-up and existing businesses. We run events, inspirational events, as well as business development workshops. We have a small grant that we can give to help businesses start up. It's really complete support from pre-start-up right through to developing existing businesses.
And you've got quite a little team up there as well, haven't you? There's three or four of you?
There's 2 full-time and then we have student interns as well as a couple of consultants that we use as well.
Great. Well, what we really wanted to discuss today was I know that you've got two key events in your calendar during the year. There's the New Biz event in February, which we'll come on to, and but you actually have in November the Business Ideas competition, and I think that's just happened, and you've just announced your winners. Right. So we really want you just to introduce them and see how that all went this year.
Okay. We've run the Business Idea competition. This is our 3rd year. And this year we received 41 entries, which was fantastic.
That's great, isn't it?
From both students at the university itself as well as members of the community entered, both on social enterprises as well as private enterprises.
And there's 2 distinct
there's prizes
awards,
for both.
Yeah.
We had the independent panel did quite a job in drawing up a short list for the finals, but it was the ones that we felt had the most potential to be successful businesses, and we called them to a sort of Dragon's Den style independent panel who judged the competition.
Great, and it's quite a a good prize as well, isn't it? About £3,500 in total.
We were very lucky. We had sponsorship from the local social economy partnership as well as Johnson Carmichael, and this year was the most we've ever had in prize money. It's £3,500, which was fantastic.
So who won?
Who won? The first prize went to Jo West and her team for the Garden Cafe. And Jo will tell you a little bit more about what the Garden Cafe does. Second prize for the social enterprise was Ginny, who had was an instrumental workshop. Ginny will again tell you a bit. Unfortunately, Mark, who won the first for the commercial, has got a prolapsed disc and is flat on his back at the moment, so is unable to come along. His idea was refurbishing Volkswagen camper vans, and he's going to be then hiring these out. So if you fancy a weekend or a week up the West Coast.
I always have done, because I haven't really done very many holidays in Scotland at all.
Well,
so it sounds a great idea.
Hoping to be developed that and maybe hiring by the summer.
Fantastic. And it's obviously it's great for the local business community and the start-ups and the businesses, the community themselves that have embraced the whole thing as well. And it's great that it moves forward and you see the ideas coming to fruition as well from the competition.
I mean, that's the whole idea, is that they go from the idea stage, because we know there are a lot of people out there with business ideas, but they don't know what to do with them. They don't know where to go to seek help and guidance, and this is really to give them a platform to enable their business idea to actually progress onto a real live business.
Fantastic. So business ideas competition done and dusted now for 2011. The next thing on the calendar, I think, is the 7th of February at the Perth Concert Hall. You've got the very successful New Biz. I was at the one this year, 2011, and thoroughly enjoyed it. So so can you give us any sneak preview of who's going to be rolling around that day?
We've actually just announced who our keynote speaker is going to be. In the past, we've had everybody from Michelle Moan, from Ultimo Bra fame, to last year we had Ruth Badger from The Apprentice. This year we have Mick Jackson, who is from the Wild Heart Foundation. Mick has got a really inspirational story. Who developed from a commercial business and is now running a really successful social enterprise, giving loans to women in the third world. So he's going to be our keynote speaker. It's a mixture of inspirational speakers as well as practical workshops, and we have a panel as well, been there, done that. So we have 3 members, and these are ones that the audience will then get an opportunity to ask questions as well. We do offer questions and answers to the keynote speaker as well, and we have workshops, everything from networking, what can you get for free, digital media, as well as Mick Jackson has agreed to take the social enterprise workshop to help those looking to start a social enterprise or develop an existing one. And it's going to be a session with Mick, which is fantastic. He's going to stay the whole morning with us.
That's great. Well, listen, very well done with the Business Ideas competition, and we're interested to hear from the winners, and we're going to do so. And all the best for New Biz 2012. And maybe we'll even pop along on the day and get a few words from Mick and some of the others in attendance, which would be great.
We'd be delighted to have you.
Thank you. So remember, 7th of February?
That's right.
7th of February, in the diary, February next year, New Biz, Perth Concert Hall. I'm delighted to be joined today by Joanne West and Aileen Davidson, who are winners of the recent Centre for Enterprise Perth College UHI Business Ideas competition. So ladies, welcome to PerthshireOnlineTV.
Thank you. Thank you.
So first of all, tell us a little bit about your own roles up at the college UHI, and then you can tell us a little bit about the idea that you won with.
Okay, well, I'm Jo West. I'm the curriculum manager for the Social and Vocational Studies Department, and we have 140 plus students that come to us every week throughout Perth, that live in Perth and Kinross, and they have additional support needs, and we run a variety of courses and a wide curriculum for these students to encourage them to increase their vocational and social opportunities within.
So what kind of courses and things do they get then?
Well, we try and make sure that every student has the opportunity to have a vocational opportunity. So they may, for example, they'll get a work experience. They do hospitality classes,
Great.
horticultural classes. Oh gosh, I'm getting
Core
stuck here.
skills.
Core skills.
Very important.
Very important. And then, as well as that, they'll be involved in some sport and leisure to develop health and well-being. Everything we do works towards curriculum for excellence. And the
Fantastic.
students get qualifications, SQA qualifications and ASDAN qualifications.
That's great. It's busy. And how many students did you say went through
We
the
have
process?
140 students that we work with throughout the working week.
Gosh, you ladies must be really busy. Aileen, what do you do up there?
Well, I do lots of different things. My background is hospitality, so I do lots of independent living skills with them. We have a cafe where we prepare food and sell food, and they learn the techniques of communication and taking orders and serving and clearing up. We do lots of cookery. They do laundry work. Cleaning, we've got them cleaning toilets and all those sorts
So
of things.
it's good. That's good practical
Well, it
skills
is,
that people are
yeah.
going to learn.
Ironing,
They're going to know how to use, and it's something that they can apply into the real world.
Yes.
Absolutely.
That's what it's about, really, isn't it?
Because a lot of them now are having to live independently on their own, so it's good for them. Yeah.
So we had Sheena in recently who's the manager for the Centre for Enterprise, and she was telling us all about great result that they had, or the great number of entrants that they had in for the Business Ideas competition this year. £3,500 in prize money, sponsored by local social economy partnership and Johnson Carmichael, the accountants. But you ladies won, so come on, tell us, congratulations. Well done. Tell us about the idea and how you're going to move forward with it.
Okay, well, our dream plan is to create the Garden Cafe, and we're going to bring 3 of our courses together. So in horticultural classes, the students are going to plant and grow organic vegetables and make flower baskets and do all sorts of things like that. In our craft classes, we're going to make cards and pictures, and we already do bits of that and sell them in the Conservatory Cafe that Aileen runs every week. And what our students really wanted, they've been desperate for Aileen to have a new kitchen area and
Right,
to
okay.
expand the cafe, because it's a very, very small, tight area, and it's difficult to get wheelchairs in and out of the
Right,
area.
okay.
So we're now going to expand out into the garden. We're going to use our homegrown organic veg to make soups and
That sounds fantastic. All roads lead up to the college.
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Everybody said it's the best kept secret, but we can't make it too big at the moment because we don't have the space. We seat about 14.
And will that give more opportunity for the student if you expand to the Garden Cafe? Will that give your students and your curriculum more opportunity to be actively involved as well?
Everybody's going to be involved. Even our enterprise classes, they will be involved in marketing the business. And it means that the students can invite their parents, carers, other people in the community along. We've had some really quite interesting visitors this year, and well, maybe you'll come along.
I was going to say maybe even a local internet TV station could come along for a nice bowl of soup every now and then.
That would be
Delighted,
wonderful.
yeah.
And one of the highlights as well, because we've won this competition money, we've now gone on to put an entry into Beach Grove Garden Community Gardens 2012. So please keep your fingers crossed for us.
So tell us a little bit about this. You put your application in. Do people have to vote? Is there a call to action that we should be picking up the phone?
It's a very, very similar process to what we had to do with Sheena.
Right.
We put in the application, but we could only put the application in once we had some funding to back our project.
Right, okay.
So this funding, winning first prize, has given us the prize money to be able to initiate the next process for Beach Grove
And
Garden.
when's the decision making around
I
that?
think it's going to be January, February.
And tell me about when the Garden Cafe itself. When do do you, I mean, obviously there's a lot of work to go into that with regards to planning and actually delivering the service. When's that all going to happen? Are we going to see it in fruition next year, do you think, 2012?
Well, I think great plans for
Yeah,
April to
yeah.
2012. Even if it's not, we're hoping to have a canopy built, but with the prize money there'll be enough there for us to initiate the project, and then we can use the income to develop further. So hopefully that's how it's going to work.
You must be really excited about it all.
Really excited, yes.
It's going to keep you even busier than you are at the moment,
Yeah, well,
though.
for the students, because, I mean, at the moment we only do morning coffees. We've got bacon rolls, they bake lovely scones, and if the cafe was larger, we could expand and do soup lunches and, you know, a bowl of soup and a sandwich. So students are really enthusiastic.
That's fantastic. Well, listen, ladies, well done. Congratulations.
Thank
and
you.
keep us up to date
Yes,
here at PerthshireOnlineTV and what's happening. And I'm looking forward to this mug of soup. This sounds, it's really looking forward to. So there you go. Joe and Aileen from Perth College UHI, great winners in the Business Ideas competition from the Centre for Enterprise, and all the best for them with their garden cafe next year. We're delighted today to have Ken Drummond. Ken's the president of Letham Community Sports Club. Others may understand that and know that better as Letham FC. Ken, welcome to today's show.
Pleased to be here.
Ken, read in the paper last year that it was the 50th anniversary of Letham Community Sports Club, or Letham FC as we know it. I think it was about November time. 50 years, quite a long time. You know, for the viewers that don't know a little bit about the club and what you do, can you give us a brief summary and background to the whole thing?
Well, back in November 1960, there was 4 teenagers who used to go at a cafe in Letham called the Washington Cafe.
Right.
It's now a Chinese chip shop.
Yeah.
And we used to meet there and play records in there. This was #1 in those days. And we'd all played under-18s football for various teams throughout the city. And the leagues had gone defunct, and then we were too old. And there was no place to go. So we knew a lot of players of our age, and we said, let's start a team.
Fantastic.
And that's how Letham started. And it was formed, if you like, in the Washington Cafe, Rannoch Road, Letham.
Great. So, you know, that went from what, that number then, back in the 60s, to, I mean, what have you got now as far as the number of teams and things
We've
go?
got 22 active teams, and that's include girls. And we also have soccer schools for primaries, boys and girls in primaries 1, 2 and 3. So we get them quite young.
Fantastic.
And,
So 22 teams.
22 active teams.
And that's
Plus,
from what age to what age?
Well, they start to play non-competitive football in teams at the under 9-year-old. And that goes right up to our amateur team, which is adults.
Right.
So, and we've got all different age groups coming up to adults. You know.
And is it all quite competitive for them, or is it sort of just enjoyment from a certain age, but more competitive league-wise and from the older age? Or?
Well, when they're young, under 9s up to say under 12s, it's a non-competitive league, and it's meant to be a learning process, you know, to improve their skills. And then they go into, when they're under 13s, they then play in competitive leagues.
Right.
But they still compete against other teams when it's non-competitive.
And how are they all doing? Are they well up the leagues?
Well, yes and no. We have the image that Letham wins everything. We don't. But we believe that we give them a good education in sport and healthy eating and good living and don't smoke. And, anti-racism, we're big into that as well. And so, yes, we hope to give them a good grounding so they become better players and better citizens at the end of the day. And so that's a part of our ethos.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. You're president. I know you've been president sort of on and off over a few years as well. What's your involvement been over the years?
Oh, well, obviously I was a player to start with. One of the 4 founding members, and then I think I was the secretary. I was the first secretary when we had a manager. He's still alive today. He stays in Garth Avenue, and the team was reasonably successful in its first season. In the second season, we won the league. In 62, 63, we won the league, and we won 2 cups, and so that set us on the way. We also had 2 players went senior, went to St Johnstone, which was a big boost for us. And at that time we started to bring in youth teams. So we had an under-18 team, which was called City Boys in those days, and we had an under-16 team, which was called Minors, and they were a minor team. And we went below that. We had an under-14 team, which didn't play in any leagues, but we played the boys' brigade teams, and on a Saturday, and they were called the Letham Mini Minors. So we've always, you know, encouraged younger teams to come up. It was meant to be like feeders up to the big team.
Yes, yeah.
In those days, in the early days, the big team was Letham Juveniles. And they lasted well into the 80s until the Juvenile League in Scotland disappeared.
Right.
And then we became Letham Amateurs.
And your girls are doing very well. Too.
Yes.
I think is there 2 there through to the
We've got,
the
we've got
national
3
team?
girls teams, under 11s, under 13s and under 15 girls. And their under 15 girls have just been marvellous. I mean, they train very hard. They probably train harder than our big team. And 2 of the girls have been selected into the Scotland squad for under 15s.
Fantastic.
And hopefully there's another one just on the edge, you know,
Great.
for getting invited as well. So that's a big boost for the club.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
We'll need to get them down to the studio here for the interview sometime.
Oh, I'm sure they are. Yeah.
So tell me, over the 50 odd years you've been involved, can you pick a couple of highlights? What's the things you kind of feel really proud about or that you'll always remember from your time with Letham FC?
I always remember 2010 in February, when we were invited by the Scottish Football Association to go to Hampden Park. And Kenny Dalglish, you know, the Scottish hero, manager of Liverpool, and Craig Vyvyen, the Scotland manager, we were presented with the Community Award for Scotland for the year, and that was a big highlight for us.
You must have been really proud of
Oh, very much so. And it's a quality mark, and we were community status. So there's 3 levels in quality, and the community status is the top level. And at that time there was only 15 clubs in Scotland that attained that. And then again this year, February this year, Perth and Glasgow Sports Council nominated us, and we received the award for being the Community Club of the Year for Perth and Glasgow.
Fantastic, that's great.
Yeah.
And moving forward, you're at Letham Community Sports Club is a formal charity.
Yes.
Is that right? And you know, obviously, you need to have a business hat and business head on, and a business plan moving forward.
Yes.
I read that you've recently got planning permission for an all-weather service as well. So what's the plans around that? Why did you feel you needed that? Is it a necessity just because of the size of the club and things now?
Absolutely. With 22 teams, we ran out of space at 7 Acres Park, where it was a home ground. So we had to have teams play in the South End. Some teams play at Ammanbank, Western Edge.
Right.
We've also got pitches down at Goodwoodburn School and Letham Primary School. And not only that, at 7 Acres, with the usage, the pitches were all worn. And so 3 years ago we said, we need to do something about this. And we got together and we had plans for an all-weather pitch, and we managed to get the funding. This is expensive, it's over £600,000.
That's quite amazing. I mean, that must be one of the club's, I would assume, biggest projects that you'll ever have to manage and work through.
Well, in the early days we thought we'd never do it. And fortunately, being a charity, we were able to get funding and go for planning permission, which we received just recently.
Great.
And it's a state-of-the-art all-weather pitch.
And that's going to be up at your home
ground at 7 Acres. We'll be able to play as many times as we like on this pitch. You know, there'll be no way. Although we'll look to replace the carpet every 7 years.
Right.
And on that pitch, it's a full-size pitch. We can also we will mark it off for 3 7-a-side pitches.
Right.
So we could have 3 7-a-side games going on at the same time.
And I assume from maybe a sort of soccer academy type thing, and it'll maybe allow you to branch out into some other sports that could make use of it as well.
Well, yes, it'll be a 7-day, if you like, all year round facility that we'll be able to use. we believe and we're hoping that Perthshire Rugby might be able to use it for training purposes, which will be helpful, you know, from a user's point of view. And you're quite right, we will have a academy-style operation, and we work very closely with schools anyway at the moment, you know, so hopefully we'll do a lot more involvement with that. And another one that we're excited about is disabled sport. We're going to put we're going to build an additional car park up there and access for disabled to our existing clubhouse to allow disabled to come and use the facility. And it's called inclusive sport, but it'll be basically football because we're strong in football.
Fantastic.
But other sports hopefully will come along in the not too distant future.
And when's the all-weather pitch? When's that project supposed to be complete? Will that take, what, a year or so? Or?
No. It's we've been told that from start to finish, they're talking about 16 weeks.
Oh, gee, right, okay.
But we have ambitions that will be ready for June next year, which June's a traditional month when we have our gala day, which is normally well attended. But it all depends on the weather in January and February, you know, when we can get started.
Fantastic.
So.
Well, Ken, all the best to you in your role, all the best to the club themselves and for the project for finishing next year. And as we were mentioning, you know, delighted to get some of the teams down to talk about the activities and what they're up to and their results and things as we move forward with Perthshire Online TV.
I'm sure we'll enjoy it to come.
And remember, if you've got an organisation or you're part of a support organisation or a team, then we'd love to hear from you as well. So please get in touch with us, info@PerthshireOnline.tv. was only in November that the Centre for Enterprise up at Perth College UHI announced its winners of its annual Business Ideas competition. That's got a prize of £3,500 and it's sponsored by the local Social Economy Partnership and Johnson Carmichael Accountants and run by the Centre for Enterprise up at the college. The social enterprise winner was for the Garden Cafe, and we're delighted that we've got one of the students here with us today, and I'd like to introduce you to Chris Pearson. Chris, welcome to PerthshireOnlineTV.
Hi.
So tell us, what do you do up at you're one of the students up at Perth College UHI.
Yes, I am.
What do you do up there?
I do courses that I do in Perth UHI. I do football and all that.
Good. So you do football, and then do you work in the cafe and things as
well?
well?
Yeah, I work in the cafe, and I go along and I do cafe, and then I do other things as well, like vocational that I'm doing right now, and I'm doing a lot of good things.
Good, and you enjoy it there, do you?
Yeah, it's actually really good.
Keeps you nice and busy.
Yeah, it's actually really good for me and for folk with disabilities like myself.
So for the entry, for the social enterprise entry that your team won, or that team won, you created as part of the presentation, the students created and wrote a poem called The Garden Cafe, which you've got here with you today, haven't you?
Yes, I have.
And you're going to represent the students and you're going to present it for us.
Yes, I am.
Good. Well, I'll let you present away The Garden Cafe, Chris Pearson and the students from Perth College UHI. On you go, Chris.
Thank you very much. The Garden Cafe. We've come today to share our plan and win some money if we can. We'd like to expand our garden cafe for friends and family, students and staff. We'd like to grow things on our land and make some cakes and cards by hand. A workshop built is what we need so we can pot and grow our seed. It would make us all work even harder if we could produce things for our larder. Vegetables, plants, herbs and flowers will keep us working all for hours. Making jam and curd and honey, making cards and making money. A social enterprise is our aim. Employing students is not a game. Developing skills, achieving goals, building confidence and changing roles. An opportunity within our fence to embed the curriculum for excellence. With responsibility, effectiveness and success, we couldn't ask for any less. And so we ask you to consider that you will find us the best bidder. We give no excuses and no pardon. We want to be on Beechgrove Garden. Kapow!
Well done, Chris. Well done. And they've applied to get on to Beechgrove Garden as well. So it's all very exciting for you all up there, isn't it?
Yeah, it is really.
Great. Well, listen. Good luck next year, and I hope it's all good fun. And you work hard at the Garden Cafe.
Yes, I'm glad to be looking forward to that as well, and Christmas.
Great. Okay. So that was from Chris Pearson and the students at Perth College UHI and their successful win at the Business Ideas competition for their Garden Cafe idea, which we understand is probably going to be opening around April or May next year. So good luck to them and remember to pop up. Well, we're delighted here at the concert hall to have Michelle McManus with us. Michelle, hi.
Well, lovely to see you.
Lovely to meet you as well. So, how are you finding the awards this evening?
Well, I love being in Perth. It's not the first time I've been in Perth, so it was a nice drive up. I did it in about an hour and 20 minutes from Glasgow. Maybe I shouldn't say that out loud because
That's good, that's good.
Let's keep going. But I've never been in this venue before. It's absolutely gorgeous. I tell you what a beautiful centrepiece in Perth because it's just fantastic. I don't know what I was expecting, but it's really beautiful.
Well, we're applying for city status next year. We're the only one in Scotland, so we're hoping this is quite a jewel in the crown for us.
I'll have to tweet about that. I'll have to tweet about that.
I think you should give us some support.
City, that's what we're looking for.
So tell me, what are you up to?
Well, I've been working for BBC Ireland for the last few months. I've been learning Gaelic. I'll say badly, but I've been learning Gaelic, and we've got a new show coming out Christmas night at 9 o'clock called Michelle McManus my name. It's Michelle McManus. So I was invited along to the chat tonight, and I have to say, so far I've been totally blown away. I mean, Vyvyen has just been on stage, and genuinely a jaw-dropping moment. She's just fabulous.
Yeah. And it's a great vibe on the place as well.
It's great. But it's also wonderful, I think, to celebrate tradition of Scottish music because there's so many positive vibes from Scottish music, and it's so cool at the moment to be Scottish and to be in the music industry. And it's just great to be in a room full of such talented people.
Well, when you look at some of the entrants tonight, it's real contemporary kind of bands and things as well. It's not the old shortbread and guitar.
No, it's not your desperate Scotty dog on the side of a cliffside. No, I hear what you're saying. No, it's nothing like that. And it's contemporary. It's contemporary and also very relevant, I think, in the same breath. And just a wonderful celebration that it's all that's great of Scottish, and there's like a whiskey kicking about in there.
Well, listen, I'll not hold you that.
No, listen, thank you. And great luck with the channel and the internet.
And good luck with your new shows.
Thank you, I'll see you later on.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Back to Michelle McManus. Hello and welcome. We're delighted today to have John Swinney with us here in the studio. As well as being MSP for Perthshire North, John is also the Cabinet Secretary for Finance, Employment and Sustainable Growth in the Scottish Parliament. John, welcome to Perthshire Online TV. So we've got a busy schedule every week between the role as the Perthshire North MSP and your parliamentary portfolio as well. How's life treating you in Holyrood at the moment?
It's pretty frantic because it's always a blend every single week between visiting different events in my own constituency and making sure that I deal with constituents' issues promptly and effectively, and then making sure that the government business is attended to properly. And of course, there's never a straightforward week, so there's always something that happens that has to be attended to that's out of the ordinary. But it's a tremendous privilege to be able to do what I'm doing and combining my local representative work with being able to serve Scotland as a government minister. Well, it's a privilege for us having you here today as well, and thank you for your time for visiting the studio. John, if we talk through some specific subject matter at this point in time that's quite high on the agenda. Public spending in Scotland, especially, and in the UK. Obviously, we've got cost-cutting exercises going on. The government also looked at an 8-point agenda with regards redirecting resource spending into capital investment projects as well. Can you cover where we are in some of the agendas around those?
Back in September, I set out for Scotland the 3 years of the spending review for the next 3 financial years. That's to cover all public services within Scotland. And the objective of that was to recognise that we face a reduction in our budget from the UK government. Our budget will go down by about 12% in real terms over a 4-year period. That's a big reduction in public spending, so I've got to manage that carefully to do a number of things. Firstly, to support economic recovery, because we've got to get more dynamism into the economy, creating more jobs. So I took decisions to boost capital expenditure, particularly in relation to infrastructure projects in Scotland. And then secondly, we've got to make sure that our people have got the skills and the talents to enable them to compete in the labour market. We've got a better labour market in Scotland than the rest of the UK, but we still have to invest persistently in supporting the development of the Scottish economy. So it's been a budget designed to support economic recovery and to protect the public services upon which the public depend. I mean, one of the interesting areas I saw in that agenda was around, what was it, around 125,000 positions with regards to the modern apprenticeship, which is very innovative moving forward as well, because one immediately thinks of apprenticeships from years ago, but there's quite a different tact on that now, isn't there? Very much so. The modern apprenticeship programme's been hugely successful. When we came into government in 2007, there were 15,000 modern apprenticeships a year in Scotland. We've taken that up to 25,000, so it creates many, many more opportunities for young people. But it also makes sure that employers are closely connected
to the training of young people within Scotland. So the modern apprenticeship has really created great opportunities for young people, but I think employers are also feeling very much strengthened by what's on offer and what they can deliver as a consequence of the investment that's been made.
And you know, from a different perspective of not being an employee, but actually in your own starting up your own business, there's quite a UK focus on the sort of start-up Scotland and start-up Britain focus. New business startups, where's that on the agenda at this point?
One of the things that we've done, we did it back in 2008 and we've sustained it, has been to reduce business rates for small companies. So when somebody's thinking about coming into business, and if they're just starting a small company, one of the things that they wouldn't have to think about is paying business rates, because the Scottish Government has essentially, for about 85,000 businesses in Scotland, we've either abolished or reduced their business rates for small companies. So that's a big help for companies. The other thing we've done, which is a response to a suggestion from the Federation of Small Business, is to put in place a programme where employers are given support to take on new staff. You know, for small companies, taking on an extra member of staff might just feel like a bridge too far. But what this programme does is give the advice and the support, which takes away quite a lot of the complications that would ordinarily put an employer off taking on a further employee.
Great. Well, next topic is which is quite hot and generally Scottish independence. There's been a number of polls recently, and I think some of the statistics have moved somewhat with regards of a third option, not just a yes or no, but the DevoMax option as well. Would you like to give some background as to what that's about, and how has that actually changed the view on what the support of Scottish independence is at this point?
Back in May, the government said that we would have a referendum during our parliamentary term, who would ask people if they wanted Scotland to become an independent country, and that's precisely what we will do. There will be a yes or no question as to whether Scotland wants to become independent, and that's entirely proper for Scotland to undertake that proposition. And of course that approach was supported by a huge number of people in the election. The SNP polled 46% of the vote in the election. We've got an overall majority in Parliament, so people were very crystal clear. They were quite happy for this to be for this question to be asked. Now, there's also an element of debate which says, well, you know, we want to have a stronger range of powers for the Scottish Parliament, but we want to do that within the United Kingdom. And we've made it clear that if people want to come forward with that proposition, we would certainly make it possible for that to be asked of the people. But folks should be in no doubt that the SNP government will ask the public, do they want Scotland to become independent? And fundamentally, this is a decision for the people. And yes, there's polls that tell us one thing one week and a different thing the next week. I'm very clear there's a strong body of opinion in Scotland that wants our country to become independent, and the right and proper place to determine that is in a referendum.
Yeah, completely. And if you look at if you take the want out of the equation and you actually look at it from a business perspective and a medium to long term business model, is there a sustainable business model for Scotland being independent? We rely very heavily on the oil sector. We see that as being the jewel in the crown, but that's one industry sector and you can't rely on that.
Yeah. If you look at the official statistics that are set out about all of this, they demonstrate that Scotland contributes more to the UK than we get back in return. And even in these very difficult times for public expenditure, in 4 out of the last 5 years, Scotland has actually been in surplus when the UK has been in deficit for all of these times. So Scotland's public finances, our ability to be an independent country, is absolutely crystal clear to me that that is the case. The question is whether people want to do that. And I think the arguments for becoming independent are that it would enable us to use all of the powers that many other countries take for granted to invest in our economy and to put our economy at a competitive advantage, and to allow us to take decisions that would strengthen Scotland, strengthen our economy and strengthen our communities. And that's the choice that people will face.
And you know, typically we've got lots of talent that comes from Scotland, but unfortunately that talent disappears south of the border or even internationally. Do you feel that there is a sustainable talent of level in Scotland to actually execute that business model moving forward?
Yeah, I think Scotland's a talented country, but you're absolutely right, Gavin. Wherever I go around the world, I keep on encountering Scots who are running major operations in different parts of the world. So part of what I think independence will do is create and energy within the country to excite and retain people to stay here and to make their contribution to making Scotland a more successful country. And that's what independence is all about.
So process and timeline moving forward, what are the general steps as we move forward to that decision-making process, and is there an agreed timeline around that?
We said in the election that we would have the independence referendum in the second half of this parliamentary term, and that's what we'll do. I think it's important that when politicians make commitments to the public in an election, they stick to them, and that's what we're doing. And okay, there's all sorts of pressure for us to have the referendum earlier. I think we should just stick to the timescale we told people would be the case. I think that's the right thing to do. There'll have to be a bill that goes through Parliament to enable a referendum to take place. There'll be full consultation around about that bill. The Parliament requires us to undertake very full and comprehensive consultation, and that's exactly what we'll do.
Great. Let's move on to 3rd of May next year. It's the local elections, 3rd of May across all 32 Scottish local authorities, and there's a few changes happening next year, isn't there?
Well, in the elections in May, this will be the first time since 1995 that the local authority elections will have taken place on their own. You know, and all the other elections since then, they've taken place on the same day as the Scottish Parliament elections. So local authority elections have been a wee bit eclipsed by the parliamentary debate. This is an opportunity for us really to focus on local service delivery and on the priorities for local communities. And one of the good things, certainly from my perspective here in Perth and Kinross, is that we have an SNP-led administration here, led in Perth and Kinross by Councillor Ian Miller, who's the councillor up in the area where I live, in the Burlington area. Ian principally represents Alyth. Council's really well led. It's a good functioning local authority. It's an efficient local authority. It delivers good quality public services. And in many of the assessments about the performance of the council done by external parties, in the education service, in child protection, the council's delivering an outstanding service. So we've got a good record to stand on. We've also got some of the measures that we've taken forward as a joint partnership between national government and local government. For example, the freezing the council tax, which has taken away so much pressure on household income over the years. So we've got a strong record to stand on, and we'll set that out to the public in May.
Great. And we've got some other changes as well from a technology perspective, and I believe that Perth was actually a pilot back in August on the new technology platform for the vote count application.
The election system's exactly the same, that people will have to rank the candidates they want to support, 1, 2, 3 or whatever. But obviously that needs technology to count it. If you do it manually, it takes forever to do that. So the new technology there was difficulty with that technology back in 2007. The new technology was piloted in a by-election in Highland Perthshire, where the SNP held the seat. It did fantastically well with the election of Councillor Mike Williamson up in the Highland Perthshire ward, and the technology worked really well. So we'll hopefully have a swift and efficient count of the votes when it happens.
So in wrapping up, John, looking at Perth, what do you see? We've got city status, hopefully pending next year. We've got award-winning events in Highland Perthshire and Perthshire generally. What do you see as the vision moving forward and the prospects for Perth generally?
I think Perth and Perthshire are in a great place just now. We've got an exciting agenda, which again the Council has led on in partnership with many others, to try to acquire city status, and we remain very optimistic that that will be delivered for the city. The county, and certainly the northern part of the county that I represent, is a very exciting place. There's lots of different ventures. Just in the last few weeks we've had the Perthshire Amber Festival that's been taken forward by Dougie MacLean, one of Scotland's greatest traditional musicians. It's brought thousands and thousands of people into the county. I was up the other week there and I noticed they've just started doing nighttime jumps from the bungee platform at the Gary Bridge. Bungee, it looks great, but it's something I don't know if I could ever bring myself to do.
Well, believe it or not, I've put my name down and said, I admitted on air, I think, recently that I'm going to just want to jump next year.
When I inaugurated this a few months ago, I said, you should never say never, but it feels like never in this case. And there's a whole variety of different ventures. We've got great strength in this area in food produce. We've got lots of local producers finding outlets for the produce. If you look at the farm shop in Blairgowrie, There's a great range of local produce made available there, all sorts of different ventures. So I think we've got great prospects. Yes, there are economic challenges, but we've got to look forward. We've got a strong tourism industry, we've got a strong leisure and recreation industry, we've got a strong food and drink industry, and many good opportunities to build on.
And obviously being the only Scottish town applying for the city status, there'll be strong Holyrood backing for us as well.
Well, it's fingers crossed on that. The First Minister has given very clear backing to the city status campaign from Perth. It's been supported by all parties within the Scottish Parliament, and we're doing everything we can to try to ensure that Perth is awarded city status. We've got our fingers crossed, but I can assure your viewers that we're doing everything we possibly can do to make sure that we pull this one off.
Great. Well, John, thank you very much indeed for your time today. Thanks for visiting Perthshire Online TV, and we hope that you'll be able to pop into the studio again sometime soon.
Thank you.
Well, that's the end of another show, and that's almost the end of 2011. So I hope you have from Perthshire Online TV, I hope you have a great Hogmanay and New Year break. Vyvyen, what did you think of the choir today?
I thought they were excellent, really good. You should join them.
Now you're going to be dangerous because you're putting me forward for all these things. Now I'm doing choir, I'm doing tap dancing, and I'm doing Highland fling, bungee jumping.
You're going to be busy next year.
I'm going to be busy. And isn't it great that we're actually seeing some of those business ideas coming through in Perth as well at the moment, because we're still in a bit of a harsh climate.
Definitely.
And it's nice to see some entrepreneurship come through, isn't it?
Absolutely, very, very good. It really is.
And you know what we've just got to get planned for the next show,
I was
don't
thinking
you?
this. Yes. This can't happen again.
Too many reds, different
many
colours.
reds.
Wardrobe coordination needs to
Absolutely,
happen.
I'm going to get you sorted.
And I'm going to leave that completely in your court as well.
I'll choose.
Great. Well, that's us finished for the year. From Perthshire Online TV, have a good break.